Brian Shaw has announced that this year's World's Strongest Man is going to be his last. So I've just got done watching Brian Shaw's latest video. Really good video, actually. Go and check out his channel if you're not already. I'm sure if you're watching this, you're already a subscriber of Brian Shaw. But he has announced on his channel that this year's World's Strongest Man is going to be his last. It was a training video. Actually, I've got to say, from the way he's talking, from watching some of the stuff he was doing, quite impressed. He's talking about going back to a lot of the kind of philosophies and training philosophies that kind of helped him originally. So he's brought back a lot of his old equipment. He's focusing on getting more mobile, a lot of fitness work that he's putting in. He knows that to beat these younger guys, he's going to need that power, but he's going to need the conditioning and speed as well.
Speed, yes.
So,
Retro Brian,
one last time. He's coming back for World's Strongest Man. And he also spoke about how, like, the last few years he's had a lot of things going on. Now he's in a better kind of headspace. He's not as busy with moves and business and stuff like that. All that's kind of running nicely. So he can put the time into his training, which is exciting to think of Brian at his best. I'm one that sort of, not criticize, I hugely respect Brian. I think he's an incredible strongman, but age catches up with you.
Of course
you know, motivation catches up with you as well. That's a big factor when you have been so successful as Brian has. I mean, we've got some stats in front of us, and he clearly is one of the best of all time. But that motivation does dwindle sometimes, and he's taken that time off. I think he's got that fire back. Looking at him in the video, he looks ready and excited.
And having like that sort of set end date in mind, I guess, because when you're not sure, you're not sure. Because, I mean, goodness me, I mentioned in the last video that we did, I had a feeling he might not do it. Now, some Brian Shaw fans must have misheard me and thought I said he shouldn't do it.
Not at all.
That's not the case at all. But there was talks about it in the pro strongman sort of circle, wasn't there? That he might not come to Worlds this year.
After the Shaw Classic last year, he said he needed some time off. So he missed the Rogue. He's kind of not doing the Arnolds, obviously, we know that. And we weren't sure that he was going to come back for Worlds. No. But he looks hungry, he looks fired up, and that break has done him good.
Yeah, and I think, going back to what I was originally saying, having that sort of set, rather than you feel like, when's the right time, I think going into it, knowing it would be his last, like go out with a bang, work his ass off leading up to it. Not that he doesn't for every World's Strongest Man, but like you say, there's been other commitments, other distractions maybe.
Absolutely. And, you know, he's going to go into World's Strongest Man as one of the favourites. Yeah, he just can't not. He is still one of the best strongmen on the planet. I mean, when you look through, let's quickly go through this list of World's Strongest Man performances, because it's quite incredible.
It really is. So Brian started his World's Strongest Man career in 2008, and that is the only time he did not make the final when he placed third in his group. We were both in the same group. You were in the same group along with Marius Pudzianowski. It was Harold Haugen who also made the final that year. Yeah. Since then, every single year, Brian has made the final. And between 2009 and 2021, he won his group at World's Strongest Man.
Last year was the first time we didn't see him win his group.
Yeah, naughty Mitch Hooper.
Yes.
But that's, again, it's an age thing and everything else that goes with it. And, you know, mileage on the clock, isn't it?
Yeah, and like we said, you know, his consistency over Worlds. Let's look at this. 2009, third place. 2010, second place. 2011, first place. 2012, fourth place. 2013, first. 2014, third. 2015, first. 2016, first. 2017, third. 2018, third. 2019, sixth. 2020, he was fifth. 2021, he was second. And then last year, 2022, he was fourth.
So sixth place is his absolute worst since 2008. Yeah.
That's quite incredible.
It's very incredible. So all in all, Brian has, including his wins, he's had 10 podium finishes at World's Strongest Man, and he has the record for most consecutive finals. Because Brian never missed a year. From the year he started, he never missed a year at Worlds.
Yeah, that's amazing longevity, amazing ability to look after your body.
Yes.
And, you know, to up-and-coming athletes, maybe that's something to look at. Brian was very selective about the shows that he did, especially now in an era where strongman is so much heavier than, say, it was 20 years ago. You know, you do have to think about looking after your body. And we do see that with some guys taking extended breaks. As fans, it's not so fun because you want to see the guys competing.
Of course, yeah.
But as an athlete, you've got to think about yourself.
Yeah, where would Brian be now if he'd really hammered the competitions throughout his career? I'm sure it would have been a while since his retirement.
So, Brian, as we just said, incredible history at World's Strongest Man. A motivated Brian is definitely going to be a threat. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to win, because there's so much that we need to see in the build-up to World's Strongest Man. Plenty of other incredible athletes as well. But I am excited to see a motivated Brian. Looking at his training and the way he's talking, I think he could come in very good shape.
And now, World's Strongest Man haven't officially released the events for the finals yet, but obviously you're a coach. The Strongmen, whether accidental or not, in some of their YouTube videos, they've been saying about events, which means the Strongman fandom have been able to piece things together, because they're smart people. Yeah. So there are good events at World's Strongest Man. And we say it every year, and I guess that's because in his absolute peak, Brian wasn't bad at anything. That's
the thing when it comes to someone like Brian. Yeah. I go back to, people always ask me who the greats are. And the greats for me are the guys that you can throw any event at and they still come out on top. The likes of Brian Shaw's Adrenaline in his prime, Thor, etc. It really doesn't matter what events you throw at them. If he's in shape, he's coming to win. Absolutely. And Brian has proven that time and time again. So a motivated Brian could be a big problem for the up-and-coming youngsters.
Do you know what, though? If Brian was to do the unthinkable, and I mean, it would be an incredible moment anyway, but in terms of record breaking, now it's been 7 years since Brian last won World's Strongest Man in 2016. The current record for the longest break in between wins was Magnus Ver Magnusson. So he won the competition in 91, and then his next win was in 94. Just 2 losses is
it's not huge. So this would be a real big difference in terms of quite incredible if he does it. I mean, Brian's going to break a number of records if he makes the final. So if he makes the final, I believe he's made the most finals. Yeah. If he gets on the podium, he'll have made the most podiums. Yeah. If he wins, he equals Mariusz Pudzianowski for 5 titles.
I'm pretty sure he already equals Zadrunas for the most podiums at 10.
So both of those have 10. So one more, he goes into the lead at 11.
Yeah. So Brian is an incredible athlete, always has been. We've always been big fans, me especially.
I mean, people kind of... you get a lot of criticism for it.
So much shit.
And I'm someone that's quite kind of... I feel I'm in a position where I can be critical, because I've competed against all these guys at their best. And, I talk...
Analysis. You're a strongman analysis.
Yeah, you can't just sit there and say...
Everyone's great.
Everyone's amazing.
Yeah. At
but
everything.
The fact is, Brian has had... When you look at the history, you can't deny how good he is.
No.
I can't predict yet.
No.
But I like what I'm seeing. That's all I'm going to say. He's focusing on being more mobile.
Yeah. I like what I see. Sorry. My mind goes to funny places.
You're just a dirty...
old woman.
But yeah, he's, really putting the work in on the conditioning side of things. That's been a criticism for the last few years, is that sometimes when it comes to the moving events, he's too methodical and slow. He's got to get back to that, just grab it and move. Yeah. And I think if he can do that, if he comes in with his deadlift being a little bit better and his pressing, because they're events that he's not bad at by any means, but there's guys that you look at, the likes of the younger guys coming through. I'm not going to name names, but we know how many good guys are going to be there.
Yeah.
There's a couple of names that won't be there, such as Lissis has said he's not going to compete. Yeah. So there's opportunity there for Brian Shaw to take that 5th title, and the build-up is going to be exciting.
It's going to be very exciting. And of course, we will be there the whole way through, over-analysing absolutely everything.
So I know there's a lot of Brian Shaw fans out there. Can he do the impossible and become a 5-time winner of World's Strongest Man in his 40s? He would be the oldest man to do it, the longest gap between champions winning titles. He's a hell of a man. He's a big beast.
If anyone can do it, Brian can.
Let us know your thoughts below. Please comment, like, share and subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time.